Hi, this lecture covers the key differences between Photoshop and Illustrator. This video may not be for you if you're not interested in the subject or if you already know how these programs differ from each other. Feel free to skip ahead if that's the case. Both Photoshop and Illustrator are part of the Adobe family, and you may be wondering, what's the difference between them? To top it off, they look a bit similar too. I'm not going to do a complete in-depth comparison because that's not really useful at this point, but I will tell you a few bits of information that are important. First of all, you have to know that Photoshop works mostly with raster graphics. That means images that are made up from a certain number of pixels. You might experience this when you go up close to a TV set and you see a dot representing a color. Thousands or millions of dots make up an image. You can also see that if you zoom in really close. In this case, I'm at 3200%, which is crazy close. As you can see, there's some sort of a grid that's made up by lots of squares or pixels. Each contains a solid color. When you add lots of them together, you get a nice image. This is why 4K is so desired right now, because it contains more pixels, which translates into a better, clearer image. On the other side, Illustrator works with vector graphics. These images are not composed out of a fixed number of pixels. Actually, Illustrator uses its algorithms to redraw them constantly. What does that mean in plain English? Well, for you, this means that if you zoom in really close on this teddy bear, you'll see we don't get the same grid of pixels like we had in Photoshop. Right now we're at 6400%, double what we had in Photoshop, and everything is super smooth. If you toggle between the two programs, the difference is night and day. The images themselves don't matter, they don't have anything special. It's important to understand that this doesn't mean Illustrator is superior to Photoshop. Both have their strong points. Photoshop has lots of tools that are specifically made to create, design, edit and retouch raster graphics, while Illustrator has less of those, but has infinite scalability. You should also know that Corel Draw works like Illustrator. In the real world, you wouldn't create a logo in Photoshop. Why is that? Because you may print it out on a piece of A4 paper, but you might also need it on the side of a building. We have a logo on screen here in Photoshop, and this canvas has a moderate size, 1024 by 768 pixels. That roughly translates into 35 by 27 centimeters, or 14 by 10 inches. As you can imagine, if we want this on an outside banner, we'd need it at, 30 feet by 10, 10 meters by 2? Much bigger in any case, right? So let's try to enlarge it, but I won't do anything too crazy, I'll just triple it in size. Bear in mind we'd need it at about 10 times its current size at least. I'm going to use Ctrl-T and I'll change the percentage from up top. When I press on this chain, this means the image will keep its aspect ratio. So here it is at 3 times its initial size. You can already see it's blurry as hell. So by making it in Photoshop, we're limiting ourselves a lot. But if we create it in Illustrator and resize it, no matter how big we make it, it will still look smooth and crisp. That's the magic of Illustrator. It constantly redraws the images, so to speak. So to sum this point up, if you need to design something that needs to be scaled infinitely, Illustrator is the best choice. This usually means logos, outdoor banners, t-shirt designs, but it can be just about anything. In Photoshop, you can edit an image, create a painting, create a business card, or design a website design so that things are fairly fixed in size. If you try to enlarge an image, that's called upsampling. And although the program tries to maintain image quality, that will inevitably go down and you'll get a fuzzy or blurry image. Photoshop doesn't work in the same way as Illustrator does when it comes to resizing. Again, both programs have their strong points, neither is better than the other because they're designed for different purposes. You don't compare a 2-seat sports car with a 7-seat people carrier.